Okay. So, hello everyone. I think we are live now. So I should start. Well, so welcome to yet another virtual event by AWS Ranchi User Group. So I am Zishan, a volunteer from AWS Ranchi, and I will be coordinating today's event. Okay. So today we are having two speakers with us who will be speaking on the topic of cloud computing and machine learning with AWS SageMaker. So before we begin, let me just give you a brief introduction of the first speaker for today. He is Sai Lakshman Kattoju. He is a third year student, CS student from LIET, Janada. He is currently interning as an enterprise application developer at BizTime IT Solutions. He is also a volunteer from AWS Ranchi, and his passion lies in machine learning and cloud computing. So today he will be speaking on the topic of AWS Fundamentals, demystifying cloud and compute storage. So, okay, yeah, it's all over to you, Lakshman. You can start.
Yeah, thank you, Jishan. Just give me a second. I'm trying to share my screen. Is my PPT visible?
Yeah. Oh, yes, we can see.
Can you see my PPT?
Yes,
Hello?
Lakshman, yes, we can see it. You can
Yeah,
continue.
that's good. Yeah. Very good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful Sunday morning with AWS User Group Ranchi, and for the session Machine Learning with Amazon SageMaker. So let me introduce. Let me tell you about the cloud basics first of all. For all the new users on the Amazon AWS console, to just a quick overview. And after that, Vivek Raja will be taken out for you on the session of machine learning with Amazon SageMaker. So before that, happy Independence Day for everyone. For once again, freedom lies in being bold. So I wish every user of us will be getting independent for their dream upcoming jobs hereby. And a quick overview about myself. Myself, Sai Lakshman Kattoju. I'm a third year undergrad student and currently working as an intern at BizTime IT Solutions as an enterprise application developer. And this is my LinkedIn, and you can connect me over there. And I feel very happy to see all your connections and network with people. So let's quickly dive deep into the AWS Amazon Web Services, and I'll give you a brief introduction about Amazon S3 and Elastic Compute Cloud Services. So let's see what our agenda of today's session. Let me tell you about first what is cloud computing and the differences between the traditional approach versus cloud computing, and about S3, features and benefits of S3, use cases of S3, fundamentals of S3, and even the fundamentals of EC2. And I'll show you a quick tour of S3 and EC2 via AWS console. So let's get started. Amazon Web Services is the world's most comprehensive and broadly adopted cloud platform, offering over 175 fully featured services from data centers globally. Millions of customers, including the fastest growing startups, largest enterprises, and leading government agencies, are using AWS to lower costs, become more agile, and innovate faster. Cloud computing is the on-demand availability of computer system resources, especially data storage and computing power, without direct active management by the user. Before we start learning about the nuts and bolts of Amazon Web Services, let us first understand what cloud computing is and why to even care about cloud computing, and especially why Amazon Web Services, since there are many other big cloud storage providers like Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platforms, Alibaba Cloud, etc. Well, let us understand what cloud computing is and how it works. Cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of IT resources over the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. Instead of buying, owning, and maintaining physical data servers, you can access technology services such as computing power, storage, and databases on an as-need basis from a cloud provider like Amazon. The cloud compute is very agile. since cloud gives us easy access to a broad range of technologies so that you can innovate faster and build nearly anything you can. Okay. And cloud is also completely elastic. Elasticity in the sense, in cloud computing, you don't need to worry about managing your infrastructure. Everything you need is on cloud. You just focus on your development. And the most beautiful thing is cloud computing is cost savings. Perhaps one of the most significant benefits of cloud computing is considerable saving in companies' IT costs. Rather than spending big money on hardware, software, or licensing and renewal fees, you'll cut down your both capital and operating costs by using the resources of your cloud service provider. And one of the easiest and handy tasks of cloud is it's ready to deploy. And we shouldn't bother about the heck of deployment, because it's on a single click we can deploy it. With the cloud, you can expand to new geographic regions and deploy globally in just in minutes. For example, AWS has infrastructure all over the world, so you can deploy your applications in multiple physical locations with just a few clicks. Putting applications in closer proximity to end users reduces latency and improves their experience. So what cloud does is, when for suppose I'll tell you an example from here. So what cloud exactly does is, you have a user working on cloud and logged into the cloud services. These are the cloud provider services in the market. One of a few examples of cloud provider services. So suppose a user has logged into any of the cloud provider and asking for the cloud for certain service, and the cloud does its magic and returns back the service to the user. Let me show you a pointer. Okay. Okay. So what happens is that the cloud does its magic, and the first of all, user request and request a service for the cloud, and the cloud does its magic, and the clouds in return gives back the service to the user. And the beauty here is that and the user pays for the kind of service he has consumed for the minimal time. It's all on pay per your use. He's only going to pay as per his uses. Okay. So next we'll see about great. Now let's see difference between the traditional approach and cloud computing with the help of an example. For suppose an user is calculating taxes for his company and he needed tax calculating equipment to calculate it. So he then go to the market and purchase the device. For suppose the device is around $50 and he use it whenever he wants to use it, or else he will store it in his drawer. Great. This is how it happens in the traditional approach. He just buy the device or the service whatever he needs. Here we're discussing about tax calculating. The user just buys it around in the market. It may cost around $50 or $40 or any sum of amount, and then what happens here in the cloud is that, now let's see the advent of cloud computing here in this example. We need to buy the calculator by spending a whole sum of amount $50. Instead, we can request the service. We can request a service to the cloud provider, and in returns, the cloud provider gives us the access to the service at minimal cost. For suppose say $1. The calculator may takes around $1 for our service for 1 hour. Okay, and it may increase for one day. It may take for $2, or if you want to enroll for the trial version, it may give us for free also, because it's completely hour based. Okay, and the users including hours or minutes or for a certain amount of time. This is super fun, right? But some of you may think that, oh, traditional computing is much better since I have got the device near to me and I can use it physically and can buy the device of my choice. Yes, that's right. But here comes the magic of cloud. That is, this year the taxation laws are following a certain formula. Okay, and in the next fiscal period, the formula may changes. The calculator gets outdated in the traditional approach. But here in the cloud service, we will get the updated service. Whatever the updated services, we'll get it updated services for around, maybe the cost increases a little bit of by 25 cents, or it may increase, or it may decrease by 25 cents, or it may be increased by 25 cents, but we'll get the updated services on the customer demand. So what happens is that this is super fun. Like when it comes to large scale applications, then we figure out the cloud is cost benefit and very agile, right? Let's see the advantages of traditional approach and as well as the advantages of cloud computing. As we have discussed, you are the sole owner of the service. You can make the choice which service calculator you have to buy. You can use it whenever you want without depending on the internet. This is the beautiful advantage of traditional approach. When it comes to the cloud computing, you use the calculator service only the day you need it. Okay, and you can compare the cost when compared to $1 to $50, and you can compare that cloud is completely cost savings. And as we have discussed, in next year maybe the fact taxation laws and systems may be changed, and will be we may face some difficulties by spending $50 on the on the device that we have bought in the traditional approach. But when it comes to cloud computing, we need not need to worry, just focus on our development and deployment. And you can just pay for an hour or for the time you have consumed service. If the service, and one of the most beautiful advantage of cloud is that, for suppose the service is not available in one region. I'm living at Mumbai region, for example, and that service is not available at my region. You can easily switch to another cloud region, and the same service will be there for you. Okay, you'll come to understand from the next slides what is reason and what all about these things. And there is no need to worry about the security of the service also. Just bother about your passwords, because cloud is completely secured and encrypted. And you can monitor who used your service with your consent, and you can also monitor who is going to use it, who logged in with their events. There are some event management system in AWS, and you can check it out later, and I'll also explain you. And you can take a backup of your data in minutes or even automatically, so that if the service goes down, you don't lose the data. And one of the beauty advantage is that, for suppose you want in traditional approach, for some X person is using he has bought the calculator, and he wants to send the calculator to Y person living in other region. Maybe X is living in Ohio region and Y is in San Francisco region. So that what he can do, that he can ship it. He can ship the device, because the device is not available in San Francisco region. Maybe the shipping costs around $30, and the device is $50, and here the budget is increasing. It completely going to $80, which is an extravagance for the user. But when it comes to cloud services, if your colleague is living in San Francisco or Ohio or any region, you can send the service in just a single click, and the single click will work completely, and your friend or colleague may completely use the service happily. That's pretty cool introduction to naive users to get started in cloud computing. So this is the basic introduction, that how cloud computing and what its functionality in the backend. So now let's understand the functionality and uses. So let's see main features of simple storage services, that is Amazon S3. Amazon S3 is completely Amazon S3 is a simple storage services, which is main feature of it is the storing our data, because nowadays the companies are analyzing and are working upon most upon the data, and they need a complete containers or storage devices to store our data with full security, right? We can use some hard drives or pen drives or something like that for to store our data. When it comes to large amount of data, we need large volumes of data. Maybe we can find large volumes of data, but we don't find the security and handy devices, because in cloud we need not need to carry any devices. Okay, and it may not be a burden to the user. It's simply on cloud. When you just log into your root account, you'll completely find out the services. So let's see the main features of S3. S3 is known as simple storage service. It is completely durable. Let's see what is durability. See, durability is defined as the probability that the object that it completely works upon a period of 1 year. 1 year, how the object is working upon that, we'll call it as the durability. And here S3 provides us 99.99 with 11 nines or 9 nines of durability of objects over a given year. This is the assurance that is given from Amazon Web Services upon of durability. This durability levels corresponding to an average annual expected loss of 0.0001% of object. Okay, the object's loss percentage is very, very low. Okay, because there is all backup services we'll come to know now. And let's see the availability of S3. The S3 standard storage class is designed for 99.99% of availability. Okay, the availability is very much cool. Like, see, data, when we call a bucket or an object in S3, we'll come to know that. For suppose I'm saying, for example, when we store our data in S3, the data is distributed among 3 minimum availability zones. Okay, so that when we enter the data into the cloud S3, the data is first of all entered into three minimum availability zones. So if any one fails, other works as a backup. Okay, even the entire zone is not working properly, there are remaining zones for data recovery. So this is, we have the 24/7 availability of the cloud, and it is completely scalable. Scalability is the property of a system to handle a growing amount of work by adding resources to the system. in this case, S3 is highly scalable, and it is extremely reliable and provides us the faster access service via multi-part upload options, which enables you to upload large objects in parts. Via multi-part upload, we can really upload very faster the data, and cloud is completely inexpensive and it's highly secure. Like, it is the most effective data storage and archival service that it provides you different storage tiers that are available for different pricing options available based upon the user need. If you are using for a company need, or you may be using for your trial version or for experimenting purpose, there are different tires, and you can choose your tire and you can avail the pricing options available there. And it's highly secure, and it provides you server side encryption and client side encryption as well, and also offers you sophisticated integration with CloudTrail to log. There is also we have an integration with CloudTrail, to log, monitor, and retain storage APIs, and also for auditing who has joined our service and who had entered and who is deleting the data. We can all monitor that information also. And cloud is completely flexible. Like, it offers us the most flexible set of storage management and administration capabilities. Storage administrator can classify, report, and visualize the data analysis report to reduce cost and improve service levels. And it's very it's having an easy interface to data transport. It has a simple web service interfaces which you can use to store and retrieve or download any amount of data at any time from anywhere on the web. And we'll also find some easy integration. In addition to the integration with most AWS services, Amazon S3 is supported by tens of thousands of consulting system integrator and independent software vendor partners. Okay, so now it comes to the infographic details on the use cases of S3 where we use it on the real world environment. S3 is having a large amount of backup and recovery. As I have discussed in the earlier, whenever we enter a data, it was entered into minimum 3 availability zones. If one of the zone may be failed, the other 2 zones will be available as per recovery to us, to the user. And also there are large amount of companies need to work and analyze on the data. They need archival system which perfectly runs on with the data archiving with Amazon S3, and people wants to work on analytics or data science. They can use the data lake for big data analytics. And the one of the use case is that we can also provide hybrid cloud storage and cloud native application data. And it also recovers some from disaster recovery. Disaster recovery is that when a sudden crash in the system happens, so that we shouldn't lose our data, right? So that how here the major part of data recovery and backup and recovery plays here. And we can also host some static content. We can also check our financial data and storing application assets, and also we'll see the static website hosting on Amazon S3. So now let's see the fundamentals of Amazon S3. That all we need to know is that Amazon S3, we need to know about these fundamentals clearly. That is bucket, object, endpoint, key, reason, data consistency, REST and SOAP interface, and many more. Let me deal with what is an object. Oh, sorry, what is a bucket? A bucket is something like one Google Drive. For suppose, think about a Google Drive. A bucket is called as compare with a Google Drive. How we will upload all your data in a Google Drive. In the same way, a bucket will analyze, but Google provides only one drive per one user. But in bucket, we can store about 100 sophisticated buckets, so that we can have some 100 Google Drives as per our assumption. And Amazon S3 bucket is a public cloud storage resource available in Amazon Web Services. And well, let's deal about the objects. Okay, Amazon S3 is a simple key value store design to store as many objects as you can. You can store these objects in one or more buckets, and each object can be up to 5 TB. Each object can be a storage size of 5 terabyte. And object consists of the following key, the name that you assign the object, and all it consists of metadata. You can see this is a bucket, and this is an object, and along with bucket and object, we call it as a container. Okay, let's discuss about what is an endpoint. These endpoints are easy to configure and highly reliable, and provide a secure connection to S3 that does not require a gateway or NAT instances. EC2 instances running in private subnets or VPC can now have controlled access to S3 buckets. This is our endpoint URL. When we deploy an object or a container in S3, we'll get an endpoint. Here we can see the reason that how we selected US East 2, that is Ohio region, like we'll call it as US East 2. Maybe some other regions come under US East 2. We'll discuss when it comes to reason. Let me discuss about what is key, then I'll come to here so that it will be a clear picture for everyone. Amazon S3 is a simple key value storage designed to store as many objects as you want. You store these objects in one or more objects, and each object can be to 5 terabyte in size. And let me explain about what is a reason is that a reason in S3 specifies in which region you're going to launch your service and where has deployed services, and can be worked accurately in any region. And it's better to choose a region that optimize our latencies and minimize our cost address or regulate our regulatory requirements. Okay, it's better to choose always the region that we are close to that I have discussed about. The reasons in the first slide, that maybe the calculator service may be available at one region or maybe at other region. That is how the reason is S3. And now comes to this URL part. Okay, this endpoint part. So this is our endpoint. Whenever we host or deploy an object in S3, we'll come to an endpoint that is globally. This URL is very global to everyone, and this is the endpoint. We'll get the reason here, and this is the bucket name. For suppose I have deployed a bucket named AWS Ranchi, so that this is the bucket name that we can see, and this is the object name, and this is the object name, and both the bucket name and object name is called as key. Okay, a key stores only some metadata. Some data consistency is that there is some consistency in measurement of variables throughout the data sets. Okay, so whenever we add some additional data in S3, this becomes a concern, especially when data is aggregated from multiple sources. Okay, discrepancies in data meanings between data sources can create inaccurate and unreliable data sets. Okay, let's discuss about REST and SOAP interface. S3 is accessed using web-based protocols that uses standard HTTPs and a REST-based application program interface APIs. Representational state transfers, which is called as REST, is a protocol that implements a simple, scalable, and reliable way of talking to web-based applications. And there are many more fundamentals you need to see, and when you dive deep into S3, you'll come to understand everything. And S3 Select is one of the more newly added feature. You can run SQL queries using S3 Select. And encryption, as we said, there is fully encrypted services we can say in S3. There are mainly we use three types of encryption services, that is SSC S3, and SSC, that is simple storage services, and SSC KMS, key management services, and SSC C. And we can also add some client side security. Let's see about the fundamentals of EC2. Hence we have completed what is Amazon S3. EC2 stands for Elastic Cloud Compute Cloud. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. Amazon Elastic Cloud Computing provides scalable computing capacity in the Amazon Web Services. Using EC2, we can eliminate the need to upfront, so we can develop and deploy applications very faster and quick. We can use Amazon EC2 to launch as many or few virtual servers, and you need to configure its security, network, and manage its storage. Like this is how a user launch a virtual machine to the Amazon Management Console, and then the hypervisors here comes to store our virtual server. I'll discuss what is hypervisor now. Amazon machine images, which are called as AMIs, is a template that contains a software configuration such as an operating system, servers, and applications. We can launch EC2 instances from AMIs, that is Amazon machine images, which are available in AWS Marketplace community, or you can add your own server. In AWS, there are thousands of powerful of hypervisors. But what is a hypervisor is that? And hypervisor is a computer software, firmware, or hardware that creates and runs virtual images. A computer on which a hypervisor runs, or one or more virtual machines, is called a host machine, and each virtual machine is called a guest machine. Okay. So these are the features of EC2. like in EC2, there are, as we have discussed, the pre-configured templates, we call it as Amazon machine images. And we can also add various configurations of our CPU. Like we can add the configuration of CPU, the memory storage we need, and the storage capacity we need, networking capacity, and the instances. And we can also provide some secure login information. That's it. And it's called as elastic because elastic is the level at which a system is able to adapt workload changes by provisioning and deprovisioning resources such that the resources meet the current demand as closely as possible. Like for suppose a company is using at 4 p.m., the company at the timing of 4 p.m., the company is using 8 gigs of CPU. And at 5 p.m., it's going to change to 2 gigs of CPU. And at 6 p.m., it only use only 1 gig of CPU. So that in Elastic, it gives us the power or the work power of our need. I mean, it is allowing the request at what purpose we need the complete service, and the prices is completely how much you're gonna use and you're gonna pay till that. Okay, so these are the quick introduction about Amazon S3 and EC2. Let's see that. Give me 1 second. Let's see how we can let's go to the AWS Management Console and see the services. Jishan, like can you see my Management Console?
No, 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 I can't see. It's
Okay,
not
great.
visible.
It's visible, right? Can you see or not?
No, I don't think so. I can't see.
Okay, okay.
I think it's the same thing. I think the host needs to allow. Oh, okay. Okay, okay, I
Can you
can
see it
see.
now? Can you see it now? Okay, great.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, this is the AWS Management Console, so that you can access all your services from here. Before getting into that, you have to create an AWS account and log in with your root user, and it asks you 2 rupees of credit information. It will ask you 2 rupees of it charges of around 2 rupees, and you can access that using your debit or credit cards, and again it will be added to you. So just log into your root accounts, and here how the interface looks like. And just go to the S3 console, or you can type for services here as Amazon S3. So this is our interfaces, and this is what I have discussed about. I have already created a bucket for you to quickly show. And when you click on create bucket, you can see, and this is the bucket that I have named as AWS Ranchi, and I'll go to the bucket, and I'll show you quickly how to add how to host a static website, and you can add two web pages. Like I've added two objects like error.html and index.html. Like these are my objects. On click on the any side other than the name, click on here, you'll get a pop-up here, so that you have to grant permissions, public permissions like read and write, where you can add like go to permissions, or go to overview, go to actions, and you can make it public here. And let's see how to host a static website. Go to properties and go to static website hosting, and you simply add your index.html and error.html. That's it, simply, and press save. Okay, this is my endpoint URL that I have discussed. This is the reason AP South 1. Here I have used Mumbai as my reason here, AP South 1. And this is my bucket name, you can see. And now I'm clicking my endpoint URL. That's it, your website was hosted statically. You can see this is the index.html that I have included for a dummy page. Let's see how it works on error.html. I'm entering some error intentionally, and you'll get an error message. Oops, there is something wrong. Okay, this is how a static website completely works. And let's see the how EC2 works, and you'll check on EC2. Okay, this is how the EC2 interface it looks like. You can go to instances to create a new instance, and you can launch an instance. Click on launch instance, and you can go to AWS Marketplace, where you can find a wide range of AMIs that I have said to you earlier. But since we are using the free tier account, we'll go to quick start, and we'll choose an Amazon Linux 2 AMI, Amazon Machine Image, which is available for free tier, and we'll select it. And we're going to choose this free tier eligible, and we'll get next to configure launch, and I'll keep it all as default. We're going to use only one instance, one, and next I'll add the storage. The storage is we can add anything, the size you needed, the volume type you need, the SSDs and root users, anything you can add, but I'll leave it as default. You can add tags. I'll add a tag, AWS Ranchi, and we'll keep it as test. And next I'll go to the security group. You can add your port type, HTTPS, SSH, or your protocols or port range, or your IP address, anything like that. I'll keep it as anywhere, and I'll review and launch it, and I'll just launch it. Okay, and now it comes to you have to choose to that. I'll acknowledge and I'll launch my instance. Now you have to use the putty services to launch your instance, so that you can virtually launch any of your service. So this is how, and we'll get back to services, and we'll go to EC2 to check whether our instance is running accurately or not. I'll go to instances. Okay, it takes some time. Now the instances is currently running, and we'll take this IPv4 and go to pay, and we'll get some ppm or pem files, so that we can launch our virtual server Linux server. So this is a complete brief introduction from my side, and now I'm handing over to Vivek Raja to continue with machine learning with Amazon SageMaker. I know most of you machine learning enthusiasts are waiting for that. Before that, I'm going to drop few important links for you to get started with Amazon, to get started in the comment box. Once check it out. I've dropped a few links. I think I'm unable to send to you, but I will share to you from Jason. Will share you soon. So I'm stop my sharing, and we'll continue with Amazon Machine Learning SageMaker. Stop my sharing.
Okay, thank you, Lakshman. That was a very inspiring, very good event. So is Vivek here? Has he joined? I don't think so. Oh, hi Vivek.
Hi, Session. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm fine.
Great.
So Vivek is our second speaker for today, and I'll just give a brief introduction of him before he begins. So Vivek is a final year CS student, and his areas of research interest include artificial intelligence and cloud computing. And he has completed several internships in the past, taking roles such as machine learning engineer, web developer, and project intern, etc. He has also authored 3 research papers on AI and IoT. He has been an active speaker, giving various tech talks and workshops at different places in India. So he is currently appointed as a mentor for TensorFlow User Group Coimbatore chapter, and yes, so today he will be taking a deeper dive into machine learning with Amazon SageMaker. So it's all over to you, Vivek. You can begin now.
Okay. Thanks for an amazing intro session. And yes, we will start right now. So I'm sharing my screen here. Hope that is visible.
Oh yes, it's visible.
Okay, great. Right.
Yes, you can
Okay.
continue.
So okay. I'm Vivek Raja. I'm pursuing final year computer science engineering. And today we'll talk about machine learning with SageMaker. And kudos to everyone who is present here right now and turning a Sunday morning a super productive one. And also thanks to Lakshman for an amazing session on fundamentals of EC2 and S3. I guess that will be helpful for us to take our session from there. And today we will be seeing a few topics. Don't worry, everything will be from the basics and from scratch. So this is before going into my session, I want to just give a big salute to all the frontline workers of COVID-19 for doctors, sanitary workers, policemen, reporters, and service persons. So we will pay respect to them, and hopefully we will get through this pandemic situation very soon. I have completed a couple of cloud certifications as well, and I have won around 15 hackathons in the past 3 years. I'm also doing a regular tech talks and sessions in various developer groups and conferences across India. And beside all my technical stuff, session already told you, I'm also very interested in playing guitar. I'm learning a new language during this quarantine. And also, I love watching web series as well. So if you have a good web series for me to watch, please suggest. So today's session will be we'll be starting from the scratch, as I told you. So we'll be seeing what is machine learning and how it is related with each other. And we'll be going into SageMaker and seeing what are the services they provide us to help get started with machine learning, and what are the AI services that will be helpful for us to integrate with our application so that it will be easier for us to develop without sweating a lot. So a basic question is what is machine learning? So consider a typical scenario where you try to program something. So you usually try to understand the algorithm behind it, and you pass on the inputs to it, and you try to get the output as you expected. So that's how every classical programming works. But in machine learning, there is something, a factor is missing inside. So that is the algorithm. So we imagine that you have a data, and the data consists of these are the inputs, and these are the respective outputs for the corresponding inputs, and you expect to form an algorithm that simulates the exact algorithm. So don't want to confuse you with jargon terms. So let's take a simple example. So let's say you're asked to program to find a power of 2 for a number. So you'll apply we'll multiply the number by itself, so that will give you the power of the square power. So that is your classical programming. What if I give you a set of data that is 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9, 4, 16, and so on? So at the time, it is your responsibility to form an algorithm behind it. So that is where machine learning comes from. So you try to simulate a function, a hypothesis, that is, you try to simulate the actual function here. So it is not necessary to be the exact function, but we will be trying to close out the difference between the actual and the hypothesis we propose. And we try to generate a hypothesis. So for example, I'm generating a hypothesis called 2x. So that will give me, for 1, it will give me 2, and for 2, it will give me 4, and for 3, it will give me 6. So comparing with the actual outputs, the outputs which I got are having a very great deviation. So I keep experimenting on and on to find the exact the hypothesis, that is the x square. So this is how the machine learning works. So this is to put into a graphical view. Here is that you give the input to a program, and you supply an algorithm, and you get the respective output. But here we give out input and training pairs, and you generate a hypothesis that simulates the algorithm, and you try to extract the outputs as necessary once that hypothesis is generated. So what are the benefits of machine learning? For example, let's just keep all these terms discussed aside, and we'll look into a practical scenario. You're logging into your Amazon shopping website, and you're shopping for example, let's say you're looking for a computer appliances, say mouse or a headset. So you surf through your catalogs, and you find a product which are very good. And after that, you'll be seeing recommendations from the Amazon saying that those who bought the headset also bought this product, or those who bought the mouse also bought a webcam. So these products go hand in hand. So how does the Amazon know that these products sell together? So that's where the machine learning comes into play. So they are trying to give you a best user experience based upon the data they have. That is the search history. Don't worry, everything is anonymous, and it works personalized to everyone there. So that's the specialty of machine learning. So with that, we'll be able to correlate with the benefits here. So we'll be able to uncover the insights which are very hard to predict in classical programming. We can't even like say this person is associated with this group of people who are likely to buy this product, and that cannot be actually programmed through a classical programming way. And machine learning actually helps you there to go with it, and it improves your user experience and it reduces risk. And the risk in the sense, for example, uh, let's take your inbox. So whenever a mail drops into your inbox, that classifies as your spam or a good authentic mail. So that a spam mail is where it consists of like ransom links or anything which is harmful to us. So if you're able to identify those kind of mails and if you're able to segregate it, that's one of the way that can reduce the risk to you. So imagine if that is not a spam filter is not available in your inbox, and you like you randomly go into a mail and click a link. So obviously you'll be get affected by that. So it can happen every day, and you're saved by millions of mail that are that are spams that are falling into your inbox. So hats off to one of the machine learning use cases there. And anticipate customer behavior. As I said, like there is a recommendation system going on in your shopping and e-commerce websites, and that's it. And lower cost. For example, if you're having an inventory or you're managing a business or a sale, so there might be an instance where we need to predict what will be the sale for the next upcoming month for a particular product or something like that. So if you're able to like predict the sales, you'll be able to like manage the inventory there, and thus you'll be able to save the cost. So Amazon does that every time. That's how they're able to minimize and optimize the cost between the supply chain processes, like the whatever you're ordering from your Amazon website goes to the warehouse hub and then gets shipped to you. So that everything works in an optimized way, and machine learning plays an integral role there to lower the cost of whatever the business costs occurring there. So with this, what are the steps that are included in machine learning? So let's step a little into a technical aspect there. So we know that what is machine learning and what are the benefits it reaps out. So it is now essential for it to understand what are the processes that a machine learning algorithm has. So what we need to first have is the data. As I said, data is the key point here. So once the data is acquired, and we can't expect the data to be in a organized or structured way. There might be various noisy data, dirty data available. So what I mean by noisy data is that there might be few data types which are not compatible with each other. For example, if you have a school record of your imagine having a college and they have a record of all the students there. So what if there is a missing record for a particular student, or maybe if the student has failed to appear for a particular exam, that space would be a blank. So we need to like also consider these cases to make sure our data is organized. So we need to fill the missing data. We need to handle the inconsistencies with that. So data collection is one of the important aspects of every machine learning algorithm of any life cycle we are trying to undergo here. And the second one is once we collect the data, we transform it, we clean the data, we need to like train our model there. So for that, we'll be like first splitting that into a train data, test data. We'll be training our model with our training data, and we'll be doing all sort of things to improve our accuracy there. So the accuracy is that how well the machine learning model performs with the data. So once that is done, we'll be like moving on to validate the data by supplying it with the test data. We'll be checking out the accuracies it gets, and if it is too low, we'll be again going through the cycle of doing the hyperparametering where it's nothing but like see if you have an engine of a car with you and you supply a fuel to it and you expect to have its maximum performance. So it might not give the maximum performance every time. So you fine tune it by adding some oil, or you screw or unscrew some bolts or do something sort of that. So that's exact scenario which goes here. So you keep experimenting with that to make sure that you reap out a best model you can with the data you have. So when these processes are done, we'll be interpreting our results. So that interpreting in the sense we'll be getting the prediction from our model and we'll be deploying it in a production scale. And we'll be also monitoring how the model will perform in a real-time scenario. For example, if you're having a sales forecast system, and you'll be like monitoring how well the system is forecasting with respect to the current data. So if there is a lot of deviation, then you must also start to rework on your model. So that's where the model monitoring comes upon, and visualizations, everything falls under the last stage. So I think this is an overview of what happens in an entire machine learning lifecycle. And we'll be seeing now how well these will be associated with the SageMaker, and how we'll be implementing these steps in that platform provided by Amazon. So we'll be exploring the ML services there. And the first thing is the SageMaker. So Amazon SageMaker is like a complete service for you to implement your entire machine learning lifecycle processes. And by saying the implementing of the lifecycle processor, it's it reduces the time and the efforts you put in by making the user interface very friendly, and you'll be like able to do the machine learning tasks with only one click of work. So imagine if you're a data scientist or a machine learning engineer, you try to code everything by hard coding, and you do stuff which involves a lot of processes, time-consuming processes. And when we switch to SageMaker, we do not need to worry upon. We can just supply the necessary to make sure the process goes well, and we are able to report the same exact output what you'll be doing locally. And one of the best part of this is that the compute power. So as a machine learning enthusiast or anyone who is just started machine learning will be able to realize the pain of not having the compute instance with you. Like for example, if your local system doesn't have the specifications, so you might be having a big time to get the results because it takes much time to compute. But that's where the cloud computing comes into play. So if you have some instance which have a very good spec, and you'll be able to get the outputs very soon. And that's where the Amazon SageMaker comes into play here. So what are the 4 steps we try to involve in SageMaker is that let's try to correlate with the machine learning lifecycle we just seen. So the first thing is the data pre-processing, right? So that also involves labeling the data. For example, like if you're trying to classify two images like a dog and a cat, you need to first tell the machine what is a dog and what is a cat, right? So that's called a labeling. So that's one of the data pre-processing steps. And there is a service called Ground Truth which helps us to do that. And there is a second service. Once that is run, we'll be able to do the training the model, where we'll be first writing the basic code. That is where the notebooks comes to the way. It's just a Jupyter notebook that is available in our AWS console. That's it. And the marketplace is where all the algorithms are already inbuilt. You can just import it and run. And the third thing is a train and tune, where we try to experiment each and every algorithm. You try to hyperparameter tune the model so that you get the best accuracy. And once that is done, we will be deploying and managing the entire production level algorithms. So these are the services which we'll be seeing. We will be seeing a few services here, which includes Studio, Autopilot, and few others. So these are the 4 components. We'll be having notebook instances for us to run the code, and algorithms for us to experiment. And once that is done, we'll be training with our training services. And when everything is done, we'll be finally shipping out to the production by posting it somewhere. So let's go to SageMaker here. So as Lakshman gave an introduction about the AWS console, you can just search SageMaker there and it will take you to the SageMaker console. So we have a number of services available in SageMaker to do machine learning. So one is the Ground Truth, as I already spoke. We have the notebook instances and the pre-processing training. And once that is done, we'll be shipping out to the production level by creating an endpoint. And also we'll be monitoring the model using various workflows such as augmented AI. And we already have pre-built algorithms where we have marketplace for that. So this is a place where we do all the machine learning stuff, and this is a one-stop place for that. So let's go to the first thing is the SageMaker Studio. So here we have the SageMaker Studio. So already I have created a studio where I have run a few experiments. So I'll show you how a SageMaker Studio works today. But we will not be doing a deeper demo into that, but just we will have a overview how the dashboards works. So you have to create a new studio there, and you can, once that is done, you'll be able to like open the studio, delete it, and manage it however you want. So it takes a couple of minutes to spin up. So meanwhile, we will just see what SageMaker Studio has. So a SageMaker Studio has a number of, it is like a web app for doing all the ML development processes for as whatever we are seeing before, and where we can able to like upload data, create notebooks, we'll be able to train our models, we'll be able to visualize, compare it, and deploy, debug, and do every sort of a life cycle machine learning process in SageMaker Studio. So let's hop in there. Okay, so it takes a couple of minutes, maybe due to the internet connection, but let's skip to that, and we will go to the next topic. That is, so the SageMaker Studio has everything for your model development and notebooks. Like it is exactly the Jupyter notebook that you have in your locally, but it's available in AWS Console, where you can run your experiments. So this is SageMaker ground truth, and we had discussed that in the pre-processing step, where we use that to label the data what we have. So it is a fully managed labeling services that will be able to like label and annotate the data what we have for machine learning. So it can be done in two ways. That is, one, you can automate the entire work and leave it rest to the Amazon SageMaker to automatically annotate the entire data. Or else, what you can do, you can like ship out your data to a few people, ask them to annotate for you. So that reasonably works very well. So if you have a reviewer group and you have working with the sensitive data, and you're like trying to create a workflow within your organization, and you give the training data to few people. For example, you have 1,000 instances and you have 5 people in your organization to annotate the data. So what you do is you create a job there that randomly picks up 200 instances and give to a person. So that person will be able to only see the images and annotate it. For example, let's say the organization is trying to work on a computer vision image processing processes, a project where they're trying to understand the emotion of a person. So what they do is, like, let's say each person gets instances, 200 instances of a human face, and they try to annotate like whether the person is showing an emotion of anger or sad or happy or anything else. So that's how the ground truth exactly works. So let's go to it. I'll just show you how to create a labeling job there. So this is how a ground truth works here. So what you have to do is to first create a labeling job, and that involves like creating, for example, that whatever the example we are discussing about, let's say that organization trying to do a emotion detector project, and we'll create a labeling job based on emotion detector, and we'll create some workflows there to see how to what are the data we need to give to the users. So for the data to be available, first we need to upload the data to AWS Console. We'll be using S3 for that. So Lakshman gave a good intro about the storing services or what Amazon uses, that is a S3. So we'll upload the data to S3 buckets, and we'll be sharing that S3 to the various reviewers, or we cannot do that automatically. So, but there are few constraints about using a ground truth label. So if you're having around more than 1,200 images to annotate, only then you'll be able to leverage the power of automatic annotation. So what are the benefits of doing that is that you do not need to sweat and do the entire process of labeling by yourselves. Instead, you can hire independent contractors to do that. There are multiple independent contractors who are available only to do the labeling job. So that's one best thing you can have the ground truth here. Because I would say personally that this ground truth is one of my personal favorite here, because I have also felt the pain of labeling the data myself. So which is really a very tough task here. So what we try to benefit from using ground truth is that we'll be able to improve the label accuracy. For example, you can also automate the labeling process and also have a human to review it. We can't assure always that the machine learning processes gives us 100% result, right? So what if there is a misclassification and that can be rectified by a human? So there is a mix and match with that. So we'll be like that's called the consolidation, where we'll be like either we can have more than one or two labelers to work on the same data, and we'll pick up the best label, and also we'll bring out the workflows to make sure that we have contractors and the labelers to do the job. And automated labeling features is where we have a more number of data, you can go with it. And workflow. And we can also have the labelers within your organization or outside. As I said, like we can hire the independent contractors if we want. So let's go to the next one. So this is SageMaker Autopilot. So as we discussed before, there are multiple steps which involves in your machine learning processes, which includes pre-processing, training, and validating the model. What if we can able to automate the entire process of machine learning and report the same results what you'll be able to do? For example, if you are new to machine learning or programming, or if you are like on the business side of a project, or you do not have a technical expertise of coding or programming or machine learning, and that is where Autopilot comes into play. So SageMaker Autopilot takes the entire care of all the processes of pre-processing, like feature selection, where we'll be selecting the best features for our machine learning. Then we'll be trying out the same with multiple number of models, and we'll see which model performs the best one. So we have collected the best model here, and we try to do the hyperparameter tuning, and we'll pick out the best optimized model it can give us. So that's the entire machine learning processes that can be automated in a single click. So before going into the, I have also done a previous session on SageMaker Autopilot. I will share the slides at the end of this presentation. You can go through it, and you can also explore the Autopilot in that. So now comes the AI services. So whatever we had discussed before is that, so you need to like supply the data, you need to train your own model, and we'll be like churning out the machine learning model you want. But what if I just need the output for, I need to include a machine learning service in my model, in my project, but I do not want to supply the data, or I do not want to like waste my time or spill out the sweat to do all the machine learning stuff by myself. And that's where the AI services comes into play. So AWS provides a various number of AI services for us to take over the machine learning project in the easiest way. So we'll be discussing a very few about that, and these are one of my personal favorites, I would say. So there are n number of services which are available. So it is also a ready-made intelligence for application. So you need to just give a request to the AI services by your API call and get the results for that. For example, if we'll be soon we'll be seeing a use case for that. So as discussed before, we have a emotion detector, right? So what if there is already AI services which are already fully trained and it is giving out a very good accuracy? I can make use of that instead of building my own model. So I can just ping my image to that service and get the results of what the image really wants to do. Like for example, you can I'll just call request image to it, and that image will I'll get a response maybe in the JSON form or whatever. saying what is the emotion that the person is showing in the picture. So that's how AI services is very simple as that, but it is really yet powerful to build your application in a rapid development stage. So we will try to go to the console here. So we have n number of the AI services which are can be applied to it. So we have text analytics, which uses natural language processing, code reviews. If you are like writing code and need to like do a review on the code, there is automatic code review done, chatbots, forecasting, and image and fraud detection. You can do a personal recommendation system for yourself, and transcription, translate, and whatsoever. So, and also it's convenient to build upon any framework you want. So we'll see a few use cases now. So first thing is Amazon forecast. As the name suggests, we'll be like trying to, this AI services is used to forecast the time series data. For example, a sales, or maybe if you're trying to forecast what the trend goes and so on. So there are a lot of complications involving in a forecast system. So that's in a technical way that's called a time series forecast. So myself, who have worked on a research paper in time series forecast, I have experienced a lot of problems while doing that problem. So that involves, for example, imagine the sales of an umbrella. That will be really a big, huge sales will be occurring in the month of the monsoon season, and will be very less during the winter. And of course, people use umbrellas in the summer, but in a lesser number of quantities. So if you're trying, if you're a seller who wants to predict what will be your forecast of sales of umbrellas in the next couple of months, you can use a leverage of this one. So, but it is really very hard to understand the season and trends that is lying within the time series data. So that's where we can leverage the power of AI services, where it is already very much saturated and well trained for us to get the results from. So if you're trying to build your own model, so there are multiple limitations that a machine learning model can undergo while doing a forecast. So that involves a vanishing gradient problem. If you're familiar on the machine learning side, you'll be able to know what that is. So, but even though you can overcome with like that with a sophisticated neural network like LSTM, but still coming to a broader perspective, that really invests us more time to work on the experiments and so on. So that time we can take the power of the Amazon forecast here. So that will be this is a technical definition that is in the documentation which I discussed right now. So we are actually making a cost-effective step towards it. And the second one is the recognition. So as the name suggests here, recognition is where you do all the video and image processing stuff. So let's go back to the scenario where we discuss about the emotion detector. So we'll be using the image processing techniques to understand what are available in the image and what are the text, people, activities, or whatever it is available there. And also it is able to detect inappropriate content as well. So that will be able to segregate which need to be shown to the user and which is not. And also we can do the custom labeling services here as well. And let's see a few use cases and the demo. Sorry. So let's, I'm sorry. Okay, so what are the use cases Amazon recognition provides is that you can do the labeling, such as, for example, there are multiple objects that are lying in a single image. For example, say we have a person, we have rock, we have bike, we have a outdoor scenario, we have a crest that is a mountain there. So there are if you are able to segment the image and we will be able to identify different things, we'll be able to do that. And custom labels. So any machine learning algorithm will be able to detect whether a given image is a dog or a cat. What if we want to go an extra step there? So if you want to find the breed of a dog, we need to supply custom labels to that to identify, to make sure a machine learning algorithm works well. So this is where the custom labeling comes into play, and we can segment the image and see this is where the dog is this kind of a breed and so on. So as say that the content is moderated by showing whether the image is safe to be shown to the user. So and also the text detection. For example, there is a marathon picture where people are running with the chest numbers, and you want to extract the chest numbers of each person's. So that's where the text detection comes from, and face detection analysis and celebrity recognition. Like we'll be able to find out the celebrities from the image which is supplied. So let's go to some interesting use cases. I'll show you a quick live demo which is already available. So this is the scene detection. We are trying to see these are the cars and this is a wheel. It is so well that it is able to segment the data and find out everything. So there is a person who's skateboarding in the middle of a road. So we are able to identify this is a skateboard, and this is a car, and this is a person here, and there are multiple cars on the alongside of the road, and these are the results with this percent of accuracy. So which is a very great accuracy for everything. So we can just make a curl request and we can get the response from that. So we need to supply the image, so it can be done by uploading the image into a S3 bucket and do that. You can also try the demo here itself. So image moderation is where you show whether the image is inappropriate or not. Facial analysis, where you try to see the various aspects of a specific to facial things. So here is where we try to do the emotion detector, right? So it is already done here. So we can simply leverage the power of AI services to make your work a little easier. So this is a picture of a woman who's driving a car. So it says this is a face and it appears to be female, perfect, and age corresponds to around 21 to 33. I hopefully yes. So and it appears to be happy, yeah, and she's wearing glasses. So she's wearing sunglasses, not glasses for its useful power. Let's see what else it has gone. Eyes are open, obviously yes, but we couldn't see that. Okay, that's acceptable. And mouth is open, yeah, mouth is open, and she doesn't have a mustache, obviously, and she doesn't have a beard. Perfect. So that's a really a fair job here. And celebrity recognition, yeah, so it is able to identify the celebrities here. So we have Jeff Bezos here, who is a CEO of Amazon, and we have Andy here, who is a CEO of AWS. Let's see if this really works. So let me upload my photo in celebrity recognition, so to see if my photo is a celebrity or not. So I'm clicking upload. Sorry, it takes a couple of seconds here. Let's see how it works. So I hopefully we'll see an interesting result here. So yeah, I have my image here. So this is my image. Oh, I guess there are no celebrity, and so there are no celebrity faces recognized. So it has done a very good job here. So I'm not a celebrity yet. So it has done a good job by showing me not a celebrity. Hopefully this will turn in another way, showing me as a celebrity in near future. Hopefully yes. But anyway, so we can compare faces here. So this is like whether there's a similarity of this face and this one, and this face doesn't match with this one, and so on. So like we can do that it is really helpful in detection of CCTV cameras and so on. So and there is a text and image. So it sort of looks like a good morning message from one of your relatives in your WhatsApp, but obviously it's Monday but keep smiling. So they're able to extract the text from your image. Let's see, it is able to like do the like take the number card number from the image. So this can be done in various scenarios. For example, if you're trying to understand the traffic violation a person does, and you need to extract the information of the vehicle the person is driving. That is where these services come into play. So we have discussed about recognition here, and we have seen some cool demos there, and Amazon transcribe and translate. So these are two different services, but I want to discuss into one go. And transcribe is where you turn speech into text very quickly. So example is that, like, say you have a video of yourself talking, and you want to like extract the text whatever you're doing there. So manual process of doing this is a very tedious one, and if you're trying to do that in the transcribe, you can just upload the image and get the text whatever you're trying to speak. So that's where the speech is STT, that is speech to text, comes into play. And also Amazon has a very good transcribe exclusively for medical purposes. So that's where transcribe medical comes into play. And I think also the Amazon have a comprehend medical and all recognition medical, where it particularly works for the medical related images and the text there. So we'll be able to create easy to read transcriptions. For example, if you are delivering an online lecture and you want your students to have the notes what you are trying to do, so I think if you are able to upload your own lecture video and get the transcription and you can send to your students, so that's one of the amazing use cases you can do. And one of the live use cases you can encounter in daily life is YouTube. So while watching the YouTube, you can turn on the transcription on your right side. You'll be able to extract all the text there, and also there is a real-time subtitle going on. So that's one of the transcribe feature that is available there. That's not leveraging Amazon's transcribe, but that's how a transcribe works on a overview. And the translate. So translation is one of the thing we humans try to do that. So if you're trying to talk with a person who is not on your Latin languages, you use translate. So it provides a lot of translation between various languages. So what, as I for coming to my point of view, I'm learning French and I use translate for myself to understand the text better. So since I'm a very new to French language, so I need to understand what the word means. So that's where translate comes into play, and is also speeds up my translation process. So let's take to the current scenario where everything is held over virtual meetups, meetings, and everything. So if you're able to communicate to another person who's not from your language, you can use transcribe and translate to make sure that the communication is done proper. So that's where the AI comes into play, and it does a pretty good job there. And for the translate, there is a limitation for the text, the amount of text you need to upload, but that doesn't matter. Like, you can go and explore in your the blogs and your hands-on skills as well. So it is continuously learning. So every time you do a translate search, that helps the machine to understand better, and it improves accuracy. That's where the learning process comes into play. It can be integrated in your application, and it's very scalable, and you can customize it to your languages preferences as well. So I think that we have come to a good end here. So these are the learning resources which I want to give. So first we discuss about the basics of machine learning. I have written an article which discusses machine learning to a very basic scratch. Can go through it. And these are the hands-on tutorial blocks for each of every the services we have discussed so far. And this is our autopilot slides, which this is one of my previous sessions with AWS User Group. So you can also go through it and understand AWS SageMaker Autopilot in a very good deeper dive way. And these slides will be available at bit.ly/Vivek _ AWS SM. SM stands for SageMaker. So Vivek _ AWS SM will give you these slides. You can go through these links as well. I will copy paste this link in your chat box, where you can access the slide and can access these links in return. So right now I'm open for Q&A. I will stop sharing my screen to see if there are any questions to be taken there, or else we will be able to take that offline as well. I guess Okay, so there are multiple people asking for the links here. So I guess we will paste the links in the YouTube session. And this is my portfolio. I'm available in multiple social handles. You can drop me a mail if you want. You can collect me over LinkedIn, or you can go through my cool repos in my GitHub. I have done a pretty good cool repos in machine learning stuff. You can go through that, and you can also ping me in Twitter. So if you have any thing you need to discuss about your machine learning project, or if you are planning to do a certification course, or if you need any help in starting with AWS or machine learning services, you are free to ping me at any time. I'll revert back to you as soon as I possible, and you can ping me through these social media handles. And for now, I will disconnect my sharing screen, and hopefully I guess we'll conclude the session here. Is session available to is session available here?
I guess Jason is not available for this right now. And
Okay.
guys, if you have any, yeah, if you have any doubts on the cloud fundamentals or Amazon SageMaker, any members, you can just type in the chat box. We are ready to answer your queries. So that would be great, actually.
Yeah, perfect. So you can pick us anytime regarding any doubts. We'll be able to happy to take the questions offline. And I guess we are done with the session here.
Yeah, am I audible? Just confirm once.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so thanks Vivek and thanks Lakshman for your valuable times. I hope our viewers might have got some insights about the SageMaker as well as the EC2 and the S3 buckets. Apart from this, I can see one question here. If you can, if you would like to answer, I mean, just it's I think for Vivek, I guess.
You can get the insights of the speech from the PPT and blogs provided above. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Uh, so we can, as he is saying here, so we can leverage the power of AI services to extract the text, and also can upload this own video to get the transcription as well. So also we'll be copy pasting the links which are whatever we have discussed so far. I will put that in the comments there, so that the slide will be available post the session. I can go through the links which is available in the slides.
Okay, great. Apart from this, if you have any queries, as Vivek mentioned, you can go through his LinkedIn, connect with him on Twitter, and you can solve your query there. I would like to thank each of the viewers. We are running, I guess, 3 minutes or so. So, if just last minute thoughts about Vivek and Lakshman, if you would like to give to our viewers, just some hacks or something from your end, like what is your experience about using from last 2 or 3 years? Just one or two lines. That's it.
So whatever if you're trying to learn a new technology, there's a one big hack I would like to suggest you. So do not be like get intimidated by the technology. For example, take machine learning, but get started on the basic scratch stuff and do what you love. For example, if you're a player who is into video games, or maybe if you're, let's say you're playing PUBG, let's start with the machine learning concept which is related to whatever you know so far. So let's say we can like there is a very cool project which says that what position you will end up while playing PUBG. So that can be predicted using machine learning. So try to correlate with what you love to learn the new technology. So that's one of the biggest inspiration you will get to learn and get through the any technology you're trying to learn.
Okay. And from Lakshman, your end. Hello, Lakshman. Okay. So, thanks Vivek, thanks Lakshman for your time. I think we should end the session right now. Thanks for your time again. And okay, thanks viewers.
Thank you everyone.
Good.
Happy weekend.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah.